Welcome back to the Obsession. It's your boy Hardcorn, and we're back with more custom Robo. And now, we're here in the Z base. We left off from last time, but a little rushed experience. But now we're here in the inner chambers, and we're about to learn a whole lot about this game that you may not have really wanted to know. In the nicest and probably the most worst exposition dump I've ever seen. So let's get this show on the road. Nothing much is missed. Right here, it's just Sergei telling us about, Omir just asked where we're at, and Sergei begins his story. I don't really want to talk over this one because there's you know what, I will. Get my sip on in a moment. Alright. This room belonged to our leader, who passed away not too long ago. Z's leader? Yes. Someone here needs to hear my leader's final words. This is why I brought you to this place. Someone? Who? Who is it? Please listen. These are my leader's final words. Hardcore, you'll never know how proud I am that you have come so far. Hey, Hardcore! How come he knows your name? That voice, it's my dad. What? It can't be. The Z Syndicate's leader is really Hardcore's father. Let me continue playing the message. Hardcore, if you're listening to this message, that means Rahu has returned and our time is short. I wish that I could have been there to see you fight in this final glorious moment. However, if you are hearing this, it also means my time has come. I am gone from this world. I have given my loyal friend Sergei details on your mission. Trust him as you would have trusted me. You do not have much time left. Give Sergei the watch I gave to you to care for so long ago. With the power of... I've failed you as a father in life, and my final wish in death is nothing but a fool's errand. I'm sorry, son. That was his final message. The watch. My dad told me to never take it off. Keep it on me at all times. He said it over and over, and I promised him so many times. And then he left me. Hardcore. Sergei, what's going on? Like you and Roy, I learned about the outside world when I became a Class S commander. Though you disappeared right after you find out about it. Sergei, why did you leave without telling us? Because I met my boss. Boss? You mean Z's boss? When I found out about the outside world, I became curious. I wanted to explore it. And there, I met my boss. I was surprised to discover somebody living in the outside world. And? He asked me, why are you here? And I told him that I wanted to know the truth about the outside world. Then he asked, is there something you need to protect? And I said yes. Marcia, my sister, you were the one I wanted to protect. Oh, Sergei. We spoke for some time, discussing the life in our dome and outside, and finally he asked me, do you want to protect this world from annihilation? Annihilation? Yes, I have to admit, I really didn't understand his question. But I could see in his eyes that he was very serious indeed. I stopped to think and I said, yes. Then he said, as long as you remain in your world, you will never see the truth. The truth lies in darkness. If you discovered any consistency in your perfectly ordered world where things are all controlled, anything that cannot be explained, come see me again. And maybe I may be able to help you. Tell no one that we met. Tell no one what we have discussed. With that, we parted ways. I thought about it, but I couldn't find any inconsistencies. That's because there are none. Or be quiet and listen. Continue, Sergei. Then suddenly, I found it. It was right in front of me from the start. When I returned home, I saw my sister waiting for me, and it struck me. The inconsistency, that single unexplainable thing. It was Marcia, her special power. Her strange power was a gift, and my late parents, they were suffering. Sergei. To appearances, Marcia is an ordinary girl. And yet the kids tease her, the scientists poked and prodded, and they still learn nothing. Marcia didn't want to go, but the researchers forced her, kicking and screaming. So that's why Marcia hates the Robo researchers. I found out what they did to Marcia in the research center. It wasn't science, it was to torture. They say that all people are co-created equal, but my sister's power stole equality from her. If this isn't an inconsistency, then what is? How did I go so long without questioning this? My goodness, the lore, it's so deep. I really wish there was more stuff to explain to this, because, my god, there's so much missing. I couldn't wait. Once I'd seen the inconsistency clearly, I had to leave to meet that man again. I told him about Marcia, and he said in order to understand you must know everything. Oh god. And he told me the real truth, something that even most Class S commanders do not know. The real truth. The real 9/11 truth. What do you mean? You're all aware that centuries ago Rahu nearly wiped out the human race. Yeah, we were told about that Rahu god annihilated all the dome cities people lived in except for ours. No, they didn't say that because that detail wasn't included. They just said he nearly destroyed the world. We didn't know there were other dome cities until now. You were never told the truth about the outside world. You believed you lived in domes up here? Well, yeah. I mean, where else would we live? We lived free in the outside world. We lived in vast cities in the open air. Rahu destroyed all that. What? Really? Oh, originally the humans didn't live in dome cities. We lived outside. The outside world was our home. Rahu destroyed our cities centuries ago. The few who survived, they had found an area that had minimal damage, and with the help of Robo technology, they built a dome to create a livable environment for a new community. Harry, come on. I see. We hadn't heard about that part. We thought people had always lived in those domes. You are correct, but there is still more that you do not know. The dome builders left Rahu inoperative in the outside world before they sealed themselves in. Sergei, it sounds like you're saying we deliberately chose to live in a cage, like animals. That's right. The dome protects us, but it also keeps us trapped, caged. Oh, man, Custom Robo with the digs at society. Jeez. Society at large over here, and he's telling us that we live in our cages trapped. Oh, incredible storytelling here. Wait a sec. You said Rahu was inoperative, so how did we stop Rahu last time? That's right, you save in the middle of a fucking conversation because there's so much text that they explain here because they don't have any other way to accomplish this story, to tell the story. Because they probably run out of money or ran out of time, and it's so fucking retarded. Rahu possessed no form of its own. It was more like a spirit than a living creature. What? No form? That doesn't make any sense. We saw it. It looked like a custom Robo. I'll explain that later. Oh, let me continue though. Originally, Rahu was invisible, formless, but still physical, capable of inflicting damage. We couldn't see it, but it was a real creature, and it evolved rapidly. Throat's hurting. Damn. Metamorphosis. Franz Kafka. I have a feeling, though, that it's not just a sort of spirit. It's an artificial intelligence. A learning computer gone rogue. Oh, he said the name of the game. Wow. Oh, this is the dark and gritty reboot. Now I know what you're thinking. Rahu couldn't be stopped simply with the custom robos. There was something else. A device designed to stop Rahu by targeting his robo systems. A device? Sergei, man, like, why should we trust you? You're like a member of the season ticket now and like a traitor. Even if you're telling the truth, like, why does it matter? What's your point? You're right, it doesn't matter. Let me ask you, Roy. When did you first find out about Rahu's attack? Why are you so suddenly like, I first learned the truth when I became a Class S commander. How about you, Captain Mira? It was the same. I didn't know a thing until I was promoted. Don't you think that's a bit odd? What? This is the single most significant and traumatic event in human history, and no one knows. It's classified knowledge. The government dictates who should and should not know. But how could they stop the survivors from passing these stories on to their children? The people respect the word of the government. They knew it was confidential, man. Do you actually believe that the government has the power to silence such a terrible thing? Can you think of any other reason why no one has ever talked about this horrific event? It does seem difficult to imagine, like, so many years have passed and nobody knew the full scope of it. Even becoming a Class S commander didn't explain everything. The reason is such a well-kept secret because the survivors chose to keep it a secret. It's because their memories were wiped clean. It's a secret because no one was allowed to remember. What? Oh, for crying out loud. Look, this is all starting to get real confusing around here. What you're saying is that everybody, and I mean everybody, forgot the Rahu entirely? Yes. That's impossible. What could possibly make everyone just forget about this all at once? Oh, nothing that can make that happen naturally. Are you saying someone devised a way to erase every living human memories entirely? Yes. The engineers of this foolish plan wanted to erase everyone's memories and implant false ones. Oh my god, information suppression? Memory tactics? It's MK Ultra meets custom Robo. What? Our government carried out this plan hundreds of years ago once the dome was completed. What? The government found a way to make everyone forget about Rahu? Yes. The world exists entirely within this dome. Outside the dome, there is nothing. We are all raised thinking that this dome is our true home, where we will live and die. That is the great lie. The memory implant told us that all this world could be contained in mankind's entire world. But why? Rahu will awaken. It is inevitable. Could you live a normal life knowing that Rahu would return? But never knowing when? I see. It was to give us a little sense of security, even if it was just a lie. But how is that possible? What could erase everyone's memory like that? I don't know. But they did it. They made a device that could erase everyone's memory. I can't believe it. I'm sure you would have heard of something like that. Captain Mira, I've already told you. There are some things not even class commanders have been told. Like, how do we know you're not making this whole shit up? I suppose you have no evidence. Except that one of these devices still exists to this very day. Really? Where is it? I got it. Harry, you too? It's at the lab, a custom Robo research lab. That's why the Z Syndicate is there. You're right, you're the man, Harry. No, it's not in the lab. Oh. I thought so. Harry's not that smart. There's no way you could have figured it out before me. He's such a fucking dick. His arrogance will be his downfall. Wow. So, where is it? Not going? Yes. Your father's watch. That's the device. It can erase people's memories. You've had it all along. What? Hardcorn's watch. That's why these letters said. I see. The device they'll use to defeat Rahu is the one that can erase people's memories. Cool. Yes. Hundreds of years ago, that very device helped us defeat Rahu. Sergei, why does Hardcorn have it? How did something like this end up with him? What was Hardcorn's father like? He was a distinguished scientist, one of the highest ranking officials in the government. That is why he was told the truth. We all live with the false memories implanted by the government. When he learned that people had been deprived of the truth for so long, he began to have doubts. He questioned the ethics of the plan and knew that Rahu would once rise again. It's a result of the erasure, a side effect. That's where your power comes from. Right now, every aspect of the brain's development is controlled. This side effect was unexpected. Nobody realized the dramatic change in the environment and the memory blocks and implants or generate this effect. No one could explain what exactly created Marcia's power, because they didn't have enough time and they probably run out of money so they could actually have a story section for Marcia. God. Ooh. My throat hurts. I've been sucking too much dick. Gotta slow down on the commentary. The second save, incredible. Let's get back to the subject. You said that Harkorn's father had doubts about the false memories. Was he the only one in the government who felt this way? He must have been something. He was. He's still the only remaining model of the memory erasure device. He escaped to the outside world with several of his colleagues. I'm sure the government must have been quick to send someone after them. Yes. The government soldiers had one goal, to retrieve the memory erasure device. They searched all over the outside world for him, but he was always one step ahead. Instead of taking the device with him in exile, he hid it inside of the dome city itself. He reconfigured it into that watch so no one would be able to identify it. And then he gave the watch to Hardcorn. Yes, so the one person he could trust, someone who didn't know the power of the object he held. And that's when your leader formed the Z Syndicate. And all this time, the Z Syndicate's goal is to inform the people of the truth. It was at first. We wanted people to know the truth, to prepare themselves in case Rahu did attack again. But as time passed, he began to worry, to doubt himself. He began to worry that informing everyone of the truth would only trigger mass panic. He realized that it might be the best to find a way to stop Rahu without having the people know about it. That was the moment when my leader formed a syndicate made of the strongest fighters. Strong fighters. And that's when he recruited you. I wanted to save this ruined world. In order to do that, I knew I would have to help him. He told me he needed someone to support him, no matter how insane his orders might seem. But you could have told Marcia before you left. You ordered that much, didn't you? To be honest, I planned on leaving Marcia before I met your father. My sister would do anything I told her. If I had stayed, she would have never left my shadow. It was unacceptable, unthinkable, and I wanted to think it for herself, to grow into the commander that she is. I thought that if I weren't around, she would have the opportunity she needed to think for herself. That is why I left the way I did. But I always watched over her. I would have come to her aid in a second if she were ever in danger. I left, even though I knew I ran the risk of alienating her, of making her hate me for leaving her. Sergei, I've learned something. My partners taught me something more valuable than I'd realized. Spoiling someone isn't love. Sometimes you need to be strict in order to be compassionate. That's when I figured it out. That's when I knew that my older brother still cared about me. That he still loved me. And I wondered that if I wasn't why you left me in the first place. Oh shit. They had helped me to understand, and that's why I still love you. Thank you. Thank you, Sergei. grown so strong, Marcia. The more I hear about this, the more complicated this situation gets. I agree. Still, after hearing all that, it sounds like Z formed in order to help out mankind. But what about Oboro, that guy who wanted Rahu all for himself? When our leader grew ill, Oboro and Eliza made a grab for power. That's when it began to crumble. As always, the same thing with those fucking power vacuums. And when the top leadership gets weak and feeble. The more they knew about Rahu's amazing powers, the more they wanted to possess it. They'd forgotten about our leader's goals, and they planned such foolishness as diving into Rahu. Well, I guess there's always one selfish sicko in every group. I acted as Oboro's subordinate while looking for the chance to strike back. My word. But wait, why was Eliza at the lab? Did it have something to do with Rahu? Oboro and Eliza both knew that the memory eraser device was the key to destroying him. But they didn't know our leader had already stolen it. He was never sure they could trust him. They wanted that device so they could tame Rahu for their own ends instead of destroying it. Eliza must have thought that the customer research lab would have such a device. That's why she attacked the lab. See? Just as I thought. Eliza thought the device was at the research lab. I am smart, just like the Z Syndicate leaders. Which simply shows how flawed her thinking truly is. Ugh. We've spoken long enough. Hardcorn, may I borrow the watch? I have a chip your father gave me. I'm going to insert it into the watch now. Once I've inserted the chip, the watch's memory eraser functions will be restored. Alright, well, here you go. Thanks. Please wait while I insert the chip. Enjoy a coffee. Watch some movie. Think about what happened with your dad. The third save. It's been a big day, so I'll have to cut it off here. Well, everybody, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, rate, favorite, and subscribe. And next time, we'll be coming back with more custom Robo. I'll see you around.